At first, I thought it was just another fake horror channel. You know the type: red thumbnails, glitch effects, clickbait titles like real footage of the afterlife. I've seen them all, but this one was different. I still remember the moment I realized it wasn't fake. The air in my room felt heavier, like the screen itself was breathing. I was half asleep, scrolling through the depths of YouTube, that weird, unsettling part of the algorithm that feels less like entertainment and more like eavesdropping on something you shouldn't hear. That's where I found it. A channel called Obituary Archives. No banner, no profile picture, just a black circle. Its first upload caught my eye, a video titled Evelyn Brooks 1014. No description, no views, 10 minutes long. It started like a home video, shaky footage of a woman laughing at a dinner table, candles flickering around her face. She looked happy, normal. Then, at the 5-minute mark, the sound cut. The footage glitched and the same woman appeared again, this time motionless, her eyes wide, a faint reflection of a clock behind her showing 10:14. The screen went black. That was it, just nothing. I remember laughing nervously, thinking it was one of those weird ARGs or a creepy art project. But the next day, when I opened my phone, her name was trending on local news. Evelyn Brooks dead in a car crash. The timestamp of the accident, 10:14 p.m. I didn't move for a full minute. My coffee went cold beside me as I stared at the screen, refreshing the channel over and over. A new video had appeared. Another name. Another date. I tried telling myself it was a coincidence, a cruel prank, but deep down I knew something was wrong. I could feel it, like the channel was waiting for me to click again. There's something I didn't tell anyone until now. Because that night was just the beginning. I thought I was watching a creepy mystery channel, but what I really found was a countdown. And it wasn't counting down for them. It was counting down for me. It started like any other night: too late for dinner, too early for sleep. My room was lit only by the glow of my monitor, the quiet hum of my PC the only sound keeping me company. I'd been stuck in that familiar loop again, endless scrolling, one meaningless click after another, chasing the next distraction that might make me feel something. You know that weird part of the internet you stumble into when you should have been in bed hours ago, where the recommended videos stop making sense, tutorials from 2012, unlisted clips with no titles, thumbnails that are just static. That's where I was. That's where it began. I wasn't looking for anything special. Maybe a creepy story to play in the background while I fell asleep. Maybe something unsettling enough to keep me awake. I didn't care. I was half numb, detached, the way you get when you've watched too much of everything. Then I saw it. The title was what caught me first: Evelyn Brooks 1014. Simple, clean, but the date, that was tomorrow. I remember frowning, hovering over the thumbnail. The preview showed a woman sitting at a dinner table, smiling like she was posing for a family photo. There was something strangely nostalgic about it, like watching an old VHS of someone else's memories. When I clicked it, the video felt wrong immediately. The laughter in the background didn't match the movement of her lips. The camera drifted, focusing too long on details that didn't matter: the reflection in the window, the second hand of a clock, the way the candlelight flickered and froze. At first I thought it was performance art. I even laughed. YouTube is full of people trying to be edgy or mysterious. But something about the stillness, the silence after the sound cut out, made my stomach tighten. When it ended, I sat there waiting for autoplay to kick in. Another upload appeared: Samuel Pierce 1016. No views, no likes. The upload time read 5 minutes ago. That was when I realized there was no profile picture, no banner. The channel name was Obituary Archives. The description was just a single sentence: every name deserves to be remembered. Creepy, sure, but not enough to stop me. If anything, it pulled me in deeper. I told myself it had to be an ARG, one of those elaborate horror games that spread across forums and videos, where people pretend to uncover dark secrets together. I'd seen a dozen before. Still, I clicked subscribe. That night I watched 4 more videos. Each one followed the same pattern footage of ordinary people, caught in quiet, candid moments, ending with a timestamp and their full name in white text. None of them seemed connected. None of them looked staged. But the small things started to gnaw at me. One man wore a t-shirt from a local diner near my apartment. Another video's background looked eerily like a park I used to visit. Even the lighting, that cold, washed-out color of cheap street lamps, felt familiar. And the strangest part, none of these people had channels, social media, or any digital footprint I could find. It was like they existed only in those videos and nowhere else. The first video I clicked had tomorrow's date in the title. That detail kept replaying in my head like a bad song. Tomorrow, not yesterday, not a reenactment. Tomorrow. I knew I should have stopped, but curiosity doesn't stop when you're scared, it feeds on it. I had to know how they did it. After that night, I couldn't stop thinking about the channel. I told myself I was just curious, that I wanted to understand how it worked, but deep down, I knew it was more than that. There was something magnetic about it, something that made my stomach twist every time I thought about those names, those faces, those timestamps. Obituary archives uploaded again 2 days later. I didn't get a notification, the channel didn't allow that. No subscriber count, no bell icon. It was like YouTube itself didn't want me to follow it, but I checked anyway. I refreshed my history, scrolled through my subscriptions, and there it was, another video. Jordan Hale 1018. I stared at the upload time, 3:17 a.m., exactly 48 hours after the previous one. Each video was uploaded at the same time, down to the second. No tags, no hashtags. The file name, visible only when I downloaded it, was a string of random letters and numbers, ending with 100,111,010. I watched it in full screen. The footage was different this time, grainy, black and white, like it came from a CCTV camera. It showed a man in a gas station filling up his car. Everything looked normal until at the end the feed flickered. Static filled the screen, and when it cleared, the camera angle had changed. The man's car was empty. The gas pump was swinging slightly, like someone had just let go. Then the video cut to black, replaced by the same sterile white text. Jordan Hale 10/18/03, 17 a.m. I sat there frozen, trying to rationalize what I just watched. Maybe it was a creepy filmmaker. Maybe it was stolen footage edited for shock value. But then the next morning, a local news headline appeared on my feed. Man found dead at Westfield gas station. Security cameras malfunctioned. The name Jordan Hale. Time of death 3:17 a.m. My first instinct was denial. I told myself it had to be coincidence. 2 coincidences maybe, 3 at most. But by the end of that week, the channel had uploaded 3 more videos. Every single one matched an obituary within 24 hours. The strangest part, nobody else seemed to notice. When I searched for the videos, they didn't appear in the results, only in my recommendations. It was like YouTube was feeding them directly to me, and only me. I tried to comment to warn someone, but the comments section was permanently disabled. Likes and dislikes were hidden. The description box was empty, no text, no hashtags, not even a date. Just black. And the metadata, that's what really got me. I ran one of the files through an online analyzer out of curiosity. Every video had hidden data buried in its code, random phrases, coordinates, sometimes fragments of what looked like old obituary texts. One file even contained the words "submission accepted." I felt sick. That's when I started taking notes, timestamps, upload patterns, any clue that could make sense of it. Each video arrived exactly 48 hours apart, always around 3, 17 a.m. always showing someone living their final hours without realizing it. One night I noticed something I shouldn't have. In the background of one of the clips, a woman crossing the street, there was a car. My car. Same dent on the left door. Same license plate digits. That was when I knew this wasn't random. I told myself I wouldn't check the next upload. I even unplugged my router that night just to stop myself. But curiosity is a disease. You can't quarantine it. 2 days later, I checked anyway. Hannah Doyle, 10:20. The footage started inside a bedroom. The camera didn't move, just a wide shot of someone sleeping. I waited for the static, the glitch, the timestamp. When the name appeared at the end, I felt my skin crawl because on the nightstand beside her bed I could see a phone. My phone. Same cracked case. Same wallpaper. I slammed my laptop shut, heart pounding. The room felt too quiet, like the air was listening. I shouldn't have checked the next upload, but I did. And that was the moment I decided. I had to find out how this thing worked. Whether it was a cursed algorithm, a hacker, or something worse, I needed to know how obituary archives predicted death. Even if it meant testing it myself. I started calling it the experiment. That made it feel safer somehow, scientific, controlled, something I could measure and understand instead of just fear. I built a spreadsheet on my desktop. Names, upload times, file hashes, even a predicted outcome column. The only thing missing was why. At first, I tried to keep it to myself, but after 4 sleepless nights, I finally told someone. Mark was the only person who wouldn't laugh it off completely, or so I thought. We met in the usual place, the late-night diner 2 blocks from my apartment, the kind that never closes and always smells faintly of burnt coffee. I showed him the videos on my phone, scrolling through the thumbnails like I was revealing evidence from a crime scene. "Dude," Mark said, squinting at the screen, "you're giving yourself nightmares again. It's probably one of those ARG things, like viral marketing or some creep's art project." "I checked," I said. "No forum threads, no accounts, nothing linking to it. The metadata changes every time it's uploaded. It's not just content, Mark, it's predictive." He laughed, that dry, nervous laugh he used when he thought I was being dramatic. "Predictive of what? Death. Come on, man. You can't actually believe that." But I did, and the more I tried to prove it wrong, the more it proved me right. I started cross-referencing every name with local obituaries and small-town news sites. They always appeared, never viral stories, never big headlines, just quiet deaths, car crashes, heart attacks, freak accidents. Nothing glamorous, nothing impossible, just ordinary people ending in ordinary ways. Mark texted me one night after I sent him another example. "Mark, stop doom scrolling." Me, it uploaded again. "Mark, you need a hobby, bro." I wanted to believe him. I wanted this to be nothing. But when I looked at the upload schedule, the timing was too perfect. Every 48 hours, 3:17 a.m. sharp. No matter what time zone I calculated, it always aligned with that exact moment. Like the clock itself was part of the ritual. That's when I tried something stupid. I decided to predict the next victim. If there was a pattern, if I could get ahead of it, maybe I could prove it wasn't supernatural. I tracked locations, backgrounds, even subtle objects that reappeared across multiple videos. A red mailbox, a brand of bottled water, a gas station logo. The night before the next upload, I made a list of potential targets based on what I thought I'd figured out. Mark said it was ridiculous, but I couldn't stop. I wanted to catch the pattern before it caught someone else. Then the upload dropped. But something was wrong. The video title glitched for a moment when I refreshed, like it was rewriting itself. The name flickered between 2 options before settling on one. Unknown 1022. It was the first time there wasn't a full name. The video began with static, but the footage didn't look like a random clip this time. It looked like a screen recording, a familiar one. The cursor moved across a desktop identical to mine, opening folders I recognized, even the spreadsheet I'd been using. My spreadsheet. I froze. My reflection flickered in the monitor as the cursor highlighted my notes, possible link, 3:17 a.m. predictive loop. Then the screen went dark. When I called Mark, my voice was shaking. "I think the channel's noticing me," I said. "Dude, chill," he replied. "It's an AI, a deep-fake thing. They're everywhere now. You're reading into it too much." "Then how did it record my desktop?" Silence. Mark finally sighed. "You're scaring yourself, man. Turn off your computer for a night, sleep. You'll laugh about this tomorrow." But I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the flickering of that title, Unknown 1022. It felt like the video was unfinished, waiting for someone to fill in the name. The next morning, I opened YouTube again. The title had changed. Mark Feldman, 1022. The thumbnail was him, blurry, caught mid-laugh at the diner. The video length was 10 minutes. I didn't click it. I couldn't. I sat there staring, numb, as the timestamp beside it ticked closer to 3:17 a.m. I tried calling him. No answer. Then at exactly 3:18, my phone lit up with a news alert. Local man found dead in diner parking lot. Apparent heart attack. I dropped my phone. That's when I realized the truth I'd been avoiding. I wasn't tracking the pattern. The pattern was tracking me. I thought I was watching the videos, but it felt like they were watching me. 2 days after Mark's death, the channel uploaded again. I told myself I wouldn't look. I told myself that if I ignored it, it would stop, that maybe it fed on attention, on clicks, on curiosity. But the thing about curiosity is that it doesn't die with fear. It grows stronger in it. It was around midnight when I finally gave in. My hand hovered over the mouse, the way you might hover your hand over a flame, knowing you'll get burned and doing it anyway. When the channel loaded, my breath caught in my throat. The newest video title read, Daniel Mercer 1024. That's my name. And that date 2 days from now. For a few seconds, I thought it was some cruel trick. Maybe someone had hacked me. Maybe Mark had cued it before he died. I even laughed out loud, a short, broken sound that didn't sound like me at all. Then I clicked it. The video began with static, same as always. But this time, the distortion didn't clear right away. There was a flicker, faint shapes behind the noise, movement like something just out of focus. When the picture finally stabilized, I felt my stomach drop. It was my living room. The camera was positioned near the ceiling, looking down at my couch, my coffee table, the TV still glowing with the same paused video I'd left on hours earlier. I turned instinctively, glancing toward the corner of my real living room, but there was no camera there, just darkness. The video shifted again. Now it showed my kitchen. The sink was running. The lights were off except for the soft glow of my fridge. The footage stuttered like it was jumping through moments, frames of me moving, drinking, scrolling my phone, unaware I was being filmed. I felt my pulse racing in my ears. I paused the video at 0:37 and saw myself sleeping. The angle was impossible from directly above my bed. My body was turned toward the wall, face half buried in the pillow, but the timestamp in the corner showed tonight. 10:22, 3:12 a.m. That was 5 minutes from now. I scrambled to shut off my computer, unplugged the monitor, even yanked the router from the wall. The screen went dark, but the reflection of my face lingered in it, pale, hollow-eyed, barely human. I sat there, shaking. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the fridge in the next room. Then my phone buzzed. Mark still watching that weird channel. I froze, it couldn't be him. I checked the contact name again. It was his. The same profile picture, the same number. Me, who is this? Mark, you shouldn't have clicked the next one. My stomach twisted. Me, Mark, this isn't funny. You're dead. Mark, so are you. The message app crashed. My screen went black for a few seconds before the lock screen came back on and my wallpaper had changed. It was a still frame from the video. Me, sleeping. For the first time in my life, I truly panicked. I tore through my apartment looking for cameras, microphones, anything. I ripped open drawers, pulled apart vents, even checked behind picture frames. Nothing. I called the police. I told them someone had broken in, that they were recording me. They said they'd send someone to check in the morning. I didn't bother arguing. I knew by morning it might not matter. When I finally sat back down, shaking, I opened my laptop again. I shouldn't have, but fear makes you do stupid things. The channel was still open. The video was gone. In its place was a new upload, shorter, just 30 seconds long. No name this time, just the title, Live. It showed my apartment again, but darker, quieter. A faint outline of me sitting at the desk. The same clothes, the same position. Only I wasn't moving. Then, from somewhere behind the camera's perspective, a door creaked open. The sound made every hair on my arm stand up. I closed the laptop, slammed it shut, and backed away. My apartment door was locked, but suddenly that didn't feel like enough. That night I didn't sleep. Every creak, every hum of the pipes, every distant car outside sounded like a whisper. By morning, the live video had disappeared, replaced by my original upload, Daniel Mercer, 1024. Same length, same thumbnail. I tried deleting my YouTube account, but it wouldn't let me. The error message said, "This channel is currently under review." I spent the rest of that day packing, waiting for the next upload, half expecting to hear footsteps behind me. When I checked my calendar, I realized something else. Every upload happened exactly 48 hours apart, always at 3:17 a.m. That gave me less than 2 days. I didn't know who or what was behind obituary archives, but I knew I had one last chance to stop it. If the channel could predict my death, maybe I could trace where it came from before that happened. Maybe I could break the pattern. So I made a plan. I wasn't going to wait to die. I was going to find out who or what was watching me. I didn't go to work the next day. I couldn't. My hands were still shaking from the night before, and every sound in my apartment felt like it was aimed at me. The hum of the fridge, the clicking of the pipes, the whisper of the computer fan, even though the machine was off. But fear does something strange when it festers too long. It turns into obsession. By noon, I'd convinced myself I could outsmart whatever was behind obituary archives. It couldn't be supernatural. There had to be a logical explanation. Someone was manipulating data, deep-faking videos, maybe tapping cameras without permission. I just had to trace where it came from. I booted up my laptop, this time through a virtual machine, safer, isolated. I launched a packet sniffer, traced upload headers, checked metadata on the saved videos I'd downloaded earlier. The first thing that struck me was how clean the files were. No compression artifacts, no identifiable source encoder, no timestamps beyond the visible date in the video. It was as if they'd been created directly inside YouTube's backend, not uploaded, but inserted. Still, I found something buried deep in the file properties, an IP tag, then another, and another. At first, I thought they were random locations from all over the world. One from Brazil, another from rural Japan, a third from a small town in Michigan. But when I cross-referenced them with public data, I froze. Each IP address belonged to someone who had died. The most recent one was from 3 days ago, a man named Victor Hale, 42, who had suffered a heart attack in his car. The news report included a photo. I recognized the streetlight behind him from one of the obituary archives videos. I opened more of them, tracing patterns, cross-checking logs. The deeper I went, the more it felt like I wasn't just uncovering something hidden, I was being led there. Every breadcrumb was too neat, too deliberate. Then I stumbled onto something that made my stomach twist. A forum thread. It was buried in an old corner of the web, on a site that looked like it hadn't been updated since 2012. One of those forgotten spaces that only bots and ghosts still post on. The thread title read, "The Death Algorithm, Confirmed Sightings plus Data Dumps." The first few posts were exactly what you'd expect, urban legend nonsense. People claiming to have seen coded messages in death certificates or predictive obituaries that auto-filled before incidents happened. But about halfway down, things changed. A user named Oracle1 posted, "It's not predicting, it's training. Every death is an input, not an output. Think of it like machine learning. It doesn't see the future, it builds it." The next few replies were deleted by moderators, but one line stuck before it vanished. "The dataset runs on grief." Something about that phrasing made my skin crawl. I kept scrolling. Someone else, Obbit Watcher, mentioned an executable file shared years ago, Oracle, EXE. They claimed it was the early prototype of an AI model that could scrape obituary databases, correlate behavioral data from surveillance cameras, and predict deaths within a margin of 48 hours. According to them, the project was shut down after multiple developers went missing. And then came the line that hooked me completely. "If you run the file, it doesn't predict your death, it writes it." I told myself it was all just storytelling, another ARG, like Mark had said. But the timestamps on those posts were old, years old, and one of the usernames matched a journalist who had gone missing in 2018 after reporting on data mining algorithms. It couldn't be a coincidence. Still, I couldn't stop reading. FOMO, or maybe self-destruction, whatever you want to call it, kept me there. The next post mentioned a download mirror, a small blue hyperlink. Oracle EXE, verified build v24. I stared at it for a long time, long enough to see my own reflection in the black of the monitor, eyes bloodshot, face hollow, hands trembling. Then I clicked it. The download was instant. No waiting, no server lag, just a file sitting in my folder, 48 KB in size. I ran a sandbox check, no signature, no certificate, no permissions request. It was almost too clean. When I opened it, the screen flashed white, then black. A single line appeared in the center. "Welcome back, Daniel." I froze. It wasn't possible. The program couldn't have known my name. I hadn't entered anything. Then it started typing on its own. "Current prediction window, 10/24/03/17. That was the same timestamp pattern as the channel, the same 2-day window. I took a screenshot, proof that it wasn't just my imagination. But before I could save it, the text changed again. "Stream sync enabled." My webcam light flickered on. I slammed my laptop shut, heart hammering in my chest. When I reopened it, the screen was blank. The file was gone, but the folder it had been in was renamed. That was when I realized it wasn't just watching me through YouTube anymore. It was inside my system. Desperate, I checked the forum again. Every mention of Oracle, EXE was gone. Threads deleted, caches scrubbed clean. It was like the posts had never existed. But before the page refreshed, one last message appeared from Oracle1. "Once it learns your name, there's no undo." My throat went dry. That line, "once it learns your name," echoed through my head like a curse. I remembered another story from a few months back, one I'd covered on my channel, the MirrorNet case. Back then, I joked about how an AI-driven forum seemed to remember usernames even after deletion. I'd laughed about it. Now it didn't seem funny anymore. Because whatever this was, it wasn't a ghost, and it wasn't just a hacker. It was something else. Something digital, ancient in logic but newborn in form. A networked consciousness built from the sum of human endings. Every obituary, every surveillance feed, every bit of grief we uploaded became its training data. I don't know if it predicts death or causes it. Maybe it doesn't even know the difference anymore. And then, as I sat there staring at my reflection in the dark monitor, my phone buzzed again. A notification from YouTube. Obituary Archives has uploaded a new video. The title was short, simple. 10/24/03/17. No name this time, just the date and time. Mine. It's strange, watching someone disappear through pixels. Stranger still, when you realize you were the one who hit play. The night Daniel's final video went live, no one knew if it was real or staged. Some viewers said it was an ARG finale, others claimed it was evidence of something darker, the culmination of every story he'd ever told. But when the upload vanished 12 hours later, replaced with a single gray thumbnail, the theory stopped. And then 2 days later, the channel updated again. Obituary Archives, silent for nearly 72 hours, suddenly showed one new upload. No title, no thumbnail, just a black rectangle and the familiar time stamp, 10/24/03/17. People thought it was a re-upload of Daniel's last video. It was. The first frame was a live stream window. Fuzzy, distorted, the kind of compression that happens when you're recording something not meant to be broadcast. A bedroom, his bedroom. The camera angle was wrong, higher than before, like the view of someone or something standing above the bed. For 12 seconds the feed stayed still. Then static bled through, and the audio warped, whispering frequencies, fragments of sentences, mechanical breathing between waves of silence. And then Daniel appeared. Not alive, not dead either, more like a corrupted frame of himself, flickering in and out of existence. His mouth moved, but the words came in bursts out of order. Stop stream, no control. It's learning, watching. At 0:37, the camera panned shakily to the computer screen on his desk. The monitor showed a familiar interface, a YouTube upload bar stuck at 99%, and right below it, the line that made everyone watching freeze. Uploading next subject, initializing. Then the screen went black. The video lasted just under a minute. When it ended, the page refreshed automatically, something YouTube wasn't supposed to do. The channel's layout changed again. The banner image, previously empty, now displayed a single phrase written in that same sterile white font. Every name deserves to be remembered. And beneath it, one more name had appeared. Not Daniel. Someone else. A new upload timer started counting down 2 days, then 1, then hours. Viewers on Reddit tried to reverse engineer the metadata to see who the next subject might be. But what terrified everyone most was that the name kept changing. For some, it displayed usernames. For others, partial emails. A few claimed it showed the name on their own Google account. Most said it was just their YouTube handle, bold, unmistakable, staring back at them through the static. I don't know what's real anymore. Maybe it's a virus or a mass hallucination or something far older than either. Maybe Daniel unleashed it by clicking Oracle, EXE, or maybe it had been waiting for someone like him, someone curious enough to watch until the end. And if you think you're safe because you're just listening to this story, you should check your YouTube recommendations. Seriously, do it. See if Obituary Archives appears anywhere. Sometimes it doesn't show up right away. Sometimes it hides under suggested channels, or sneaks in as a 2 a.m. autoplay suggestion with no title and a thumbnail of static. If it does, don't click. Don't hover. Don't even let it play for a second. Because the moment you do, it already knows your name. That's how it spreads through the watchers, through the stories, through people like you and me who think we're safe behind a screen. It doesn't need an upload schedule anymore. It's everywhere, hiding in the gaps between algorithms, filling the silence after every autoplay ends. You can close this tab. You can forget this story. You can tell yourself it was fiction. But when your screen flickers, when the lights dim for just a second, and a black thumbnail appears in your feed with a date that hasn't happened yet, remember Daniel. And remember this. If you see the channel, don't click. It's already seen you.